Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Tuesday topic. I am joined by Sarah Halpin from... Does she just... Woo! Yeah! Sarah! Woo! Does the Blue Room, does a bit of Toffee TV, does all sorts. Woo! Yeah! Yeah! Woo!
You might also know me from the randombird.com.
Woo! Randombird! Woo! Randombird! Ped's not on this because his mouth's hurting him. Hasn't shut up since we started.
I want this reception every time I'm here by this.
Yeah. Sarah, let's be quiet in the studio because we've had a question from Rich.
Hi fellas, it's Rich here. I know pre-season is of course all about getting fit. For us it's also all about getting the players used to the new manager and his methods and how he wants them to play, and it's also about bedding in new signings. But the performances have been poor, and that just gives me some concerns about whether we will be ready for the new season. I think probably, in my view, we could do with an extra game before the start of the season, maybe behind closed doors, if that's the easiest way to arrange that, but a proper 90-minute game against some decent opposition. And also we need, of course, still some new signings, so hopefully we can get those. I did say when Silva was appointed that there are going to be ups and downs as he gets into the club and as he starts to work with the team and as the season goes on, but I do have faith in Marcel Brands. I do have faith in the club, and I do have faith in the manager right now, unlike quite a lot of Evertonians who seem not to have faith in the manager. You know, after 3 or 4 pre-season games, obviously some people can tell more than I can, but hey. So, should we be concerned about our pre-season form? I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Cheers.
Thanks, Rich. So, Rich has sent the video in, which you should be doing every week. Everybody, get your questions in and we will discuss it. What Rich was saying there was, should we be concerned about pre-season? So, are you concerned the way pre-season has gone so far?
Yes and no. I mean, I think, to be honest, it's like we keep saying, and before Ped was saying, you know, it's like we're repeating ourselves kind of thing, because pre-season is important, but it's also not, and it just gives you that time to try and suss out what we've got. And we knew this was going to be a massive period of change, you know, with the manager Brands coming in as well, and you know, identified very, very quickly that we've got a massively oversized squad, and we need to assess who we've got, what we've got to work with, who we want to keep, who we want to go. We've seen that kind of happen, maybe not quite as quickly as some of us would have liked, but you know, they've got to make sure that they're making the right decisions for this football club, and I think that's what they've been trying to do. The 2 players that have come in so far, I'm really happy with, and I've got a lot of excitement about going forward. I think they're going to be great additions to the side, but of course we've still got massive issues in terms of the central defence and also that central midfield as well. So yeah, we've had a run of poor results, lost most of the games, but I think, you know, until we do get these players in, then those issues are always going to be there. And there's also been real positives as well to see from this game. We spoke about the first half the other day against Valencia. I think we're starting to see progress being made. I mean, we've managed to get quite a lot of deadwood out of the door. There's still a few more that we'd like to see gone, and of course we still need players to come in. I'm sure they will. So not massively concerned. I think the concerns that are there for us all, because we know where the flaws are in the side, and it's just a matter of getting them dealt with. But it's not that simple, is it? You don't just go, yeah, we'll get it. I'm sure that Brands and Silva are working really, really hard behind the scenes. You know, there's a lot of effort going in to make sure we go into the season, of course, with as strong a squad as is possible. But yeah, it's a strange one, Baz, because as I say, you know, there are positives, but yeah, the negatives that are there, we're all massively aware of. You only have to look at the side at the back and think, yeah, we know what needs doing here. Just get it done, and I think then we can start to get more excited about the season ahead. Part
of Richard's question as well was levels of the players' fitness. He said he feels as though we needed another game. Do you subscribe to that view, or do you think we're better just concentrating on, you know, sorting things out on the training pitch this week.
Yeah, I know where Rich is coming from with that, to be honest, as well, because I think, thank goodness, that Silva managed to come in and you know, get the Algarve Cup thing sorted, and then the the Rennes game in there as well, because I think had we not had those 3 games, then we would be looking a bit sparse in terms of actual game time before the season starts. And fitness levels, that's been something that I've spoken about as well. Varying views on this here. It's a matter of, you know, I've said they look maybe slightly unfit, but you know, as Ped said as well, is it just that they're working that hard in training that they're tired? And we saw again on Saturday, first 45, maybe even the first sort of 50-60 minutes, it was a different level. We looked to be up for it, more physical, more energy in the side, and then it kind of all dropped off and we saw the changes. So yeah, some players are still looking a bit sluggish, but I don't know whether having another game in there would make it any worse. I think now it's about just staying strong in training. We've got less than a week now, haven't we, till the season starts officially? But I think that's when we'll start to tell. We've seen other teams get done. You know, Spurs have had a pretty poor pre-season and stuff as well. I don't think we should read too much into it and be too frightened. And the fitness levels, hopefully, it is just from what the players have said, they're being worked exceptionally hard by Marco Silva. So it's probably a bit of fatigue in there as well. And these things will take time to come good. But yeah, I don't think we should be too concerned. Look, I mean, I think we're going to have a better season than last, which
Ooh.
Touch wood.
Exciting. No, I think listen, the pre-season it's you can spin it any way you want to spin it, can't you? You can spin it when you're winning all the games, if look, we're in great shape on the scoring goals and we're exciting. When you're losing, everything's a nightmare. Or you can say, well, it doesn't matter, we're losing games, doesn't matter, we can get out of our system. I think probably the right answer is somewhere in between the two. I think it's never nice to lose games of football. You know, ideally you'd want to be winning every game,
of course,
and playing well. But this pre-season, more than many, there's been a real change within the football club. We're talking about the head coach, we're talking about director of football coming in, we're talking about a new CEO, we're talking about big changes behind the scenes. So there's been a bit of turmoil, I would say, at the club in terms of having to make those changes. The manager and Marcel Brands have been here 6-7 weeks. We've seen the plan get underway, we've seen players going out the door, we've seen, you know, your Moraleses and Williams, the latest couple, you know, there's talk of Balassi going, talk of Bezic going, you know. So when you look at it that way, I suppose they've cut, you know, Wayne Rooney's gone class, and they've cut the wage bill.
Yeah.
Which was a big thing, you know, it was a bloated wage bill, bloated squad. I suppose one thing we have to be careful of is getting rid of too many squad players, and then the quality behind that isn't great. I think we're going to do another video on that as a separate thing with Ped, but that's what we have to be careful. But I think with the results, if we'd have had our first choice team for every game and lost as many, then you might look and go, oh, I'm a bit worried. But I think Jordan Pickford makes a massive difference to us.
100%.
I think Theo Walcott plays in a few of the games he's missed, Berry and Blackburn, and it'd be different games because we look different. You know, if Lookman would have been available, who knows, he might have stopped, you know, looking as though he was sulking a little bit and being really good, you know, and different things like that. The results may have been different, but ultimately we are where we are, you know. We're the week of the season, like you said before, the gaps in that side, you know, the problem areas in that side are there for everybody to see. Yeah. And the next few days, I suppose, will be all about, for the players we've got, getting them organised for Saturday, working through the processes. They'll spend some time and quite sure looking at what Wolves have done last season. Everything's focused now, building towards that. Yes, they've got a few new players in, like some Moutinho, and they've got Rui Patricio, you know, from Sporting Lisbon in goal now. But everything will be kind of working towards what they're gonna do. Yeah. Finer tuning, you know, the details. But the flip side of that is obviously the recruitment, the player recruitment. It ends on Thursday at 5. Time is running out.
It is, yeah.
It is. I don't think we can, we can't dispute that. So we have to hope that we get, for me, a centre back and a centre midfield play. That's what I feel. A striker as well would absolutely love.
Yeah.
Right, at this moment in time, I don't know whether we'll get a striker. Something may present itself on deadline day as a loan or a whatever, which we might be able to do. But I think a centre back and a centre midfield player for me is massively important.
Crucial, yeah. That's it. It's like we've highlighted, haven't we, the problems in midfield as well, and that Garner and Schneidlin don't work the best together. I think a lot of Garner's exceptional work is being undone, and he could be that kind of Kante player if and that effective if we had the right man alongside him. Schneidlin, for me, and I think for us as well, said isn't that man, but whether or not we will be able to get somebody in, it's a really strange one, because I think the way that we've done business in this window, the signings that we've made, and I know it's only been 2 thus far, have kind of come, particularly the Richarlison one, out of nowhere a little bit. We weren't being linked with him too much, especially with all the dispute with Watford and stuff, and that was done. Even the outgoings kind of a bit quiet. The Funes Mori one came completely out the blue. So I think there will be an awful lot of work going on, and I wouldn't be surprised if we just got 1 or 2 players in. But on the same token, I also wouldn't be surprised if on deadline day we end up getting 3 or 4 in. I mean, I'd love that to be the case. We just can't say. Like you said, we could end up having a great deadline day, getting a striker in on loan, getting a good central midfielder in on loan. We've spoken about Ruben Loftus-Cheek. If something like that could materialise and we get him on a season-long loan, that'd be fantastic. And then a centre-back. And I think then we all start to feel an awful lot better. So it's about, this is a huge few days that we've got left with, and I don't think there's any way that we're not going to bring in anyone. But if that was the case, I think then the worry starts to creep in, because there are huge areas that need sorting. But we could all be here in 3 or 4 days' time, delighted and thinking, oh, we've done some great business there, and we've seen glimpses of what Silva's trying to achieve here in terms of us now attacking, and as you said before, Baz, as well, not having Walcott in there, not having Pickford in there for pre-season. Those are 2 massive starters for us. Those are 2 huge players in our starting 11, and to not have them, we can't talk that down enough, how much they've been missed. So yeah, it's a huge few days, and you kind of don't know which way to go. But I'm leaning more towards that we'll get a few in, and we'll feel a little bit better than we do now in a few days' time. Don't get angry with me if it doesn't happen, please. Don't.
No, listen. I think we'll bring a centre back, and I think we have to. I think.
Yeah, we do.
Do you think too much emphasis is placed on pre-season now? Because years ago, pre-season was pre-season. You'd always wanted to win the games, but everyone, you'd go to a couple of pre-season games, you'd get beat, and you'd just be like, no, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Now everything is scrutinised. Every game you play is scrutinised, and I know there's pop-up tournaments all around the world now, and people want to do well. I mean, that ICC thing is still going on, unbelievably. Been on for like 6 weeks. No one knows the format or anything. It's mad.
No.
But I just think sometimes we're scrutinising pre-season a little bit too much. I think the players themselves don't like it.
Yeah.
Because it's about getting fit, and players will be pulling out of tackles and stuff. I think. I don't think they'll be going in for it, fully through the games. They'll put enough in. But are they going to really throw themselves in at 100 mile an hour?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, isn't it? You spoke about before, Baz, as well, Seamus Coleman, and on Saturday's game, should he have just gone right through, Sandro? But he didn't, and, you got to let him have that in some ways. We're all up in arms at that tackle that went in on Baines the other week when we played Blackburn, because there is that line. You don't want to see people getting, putting themselves in danger or endangering other players in a pre-season friendly, because it is ultimately doesn't matter so much. Well, it doesn't count for anything other than getting you as ready for the season as possible. So yeah, I don't know. People do seem to take it dead serious, and yeah, there's of course we had that massive result, which was just against the side that we had to play someone, and we were based up there, and that was a local side. But you know, after that, you can't get too concerned, and the mixed bag of sides you play as well are so different. And the changes that are made, I think personally, even against Valencia, I think if we don't make all those changes second half, I think we probably go on to win the game, to be honest. I think if Pickford's starting that game, I think we win the game as well. So you know,
you'd have to take it for what it is, don't you?
Exactly.
Who do you think is taking their opportunity in pre-season? Because obviously there'll be you know, Marco Silva, Marcel Brands will have come in. They will have known. They will have looked at the squad and gone, look, he's sound. Obviously the goalkeeper, Pickford's great. You know, Coleman's a shoe in. You know, whatever. Gylfi Sigurdsson's probably a shoe in. Tosh and Walcott.
Yeah.
But there's obviously question marks over quite a few players. Some of them have gone out the door who were given the opportunity. Davy Clashton, Ashley Williams, Kevin Morales, who all played. So if the players who were like that, who do you think has taken their opportunity, or has anybody taken it?
No one's you know, blown my mind here at all in the slightest, to be honest. I think.
Did you expect someone to blow your mind out of the squad?
Not necessarily. I think I'd have liked to have seen more from Tom Davies, more from Ademola Lookman. We haven't seen him given too much time. I know he had about 9 or 10 minutes. Didn't do anything, to be honest with you. Sandro started off well, and I think he was taking his opportunities. He was putting shifts in. He looked like he could kind of be, for me anyway, the backup to Theo. But in some of his recent performances, I mean, the little cameo he made the other day was really not very good at all. Besic, much the same. I think he started off the earlier pre-season. He impressed me. I thought he looked really good. And then we saw him in the last couple of games. I know he didn't feature on Saturday, but he really dropped off, and it kind of gave this air of maybe he knows that he's not quite made it. So there's nobody that I've gone, wow, that's like having a brand new fresh player in. There's nobody for me that's done that.
That took the opportunity.
No.
I mean, Besic he did start very well. I don't know whether as the opposition got better, he didn't stand out as much, or whether you know, we don't know whether Marco Silva took him to one side and said, well, you know, we're going to listen to offers for you if anything comes in. He certainly isn't, you know, he wasn't one of the fabulous four the other day who were told to get themselves, or you know, they wouldn't be involved. Nikola Vlasic, who was told in that, how do you think he's done? Because he played a few games. Did he catch your eye, or not really?
Not massively. It's a really strange one with Vlasic, because certainly last season when we saw him come in and do bits with the team, he's definitely got something. He's definitely got ability, and he's definitely got a bit of flair about him, and is an exciting young player for me, but just haven't seen enough of him consistently to gauge a proper opinion on the lad, to be honest with you, because he can come in and you know, do a couple of things well, but then equally he's made a few mistakes as well, and his decision making maybe hasn't been there, but it's hard to judge this lad because he's not been given a fair chance. It's really hard to come into a team that's ever changing in pre-season, thrown in for, you know, maybe 60 minutes of one game, then you're not seen for another 2, and then you come in and play little bits here and there. It's really hard to gauge an accurate and fair opinion on the guy, and for me personally, I would love to see him go out on a loan. I'd rather see him go out and be loaned, maybe a side in the Premier League. That would be, you know, like a Newcastle, or a team that's hopefully not going to be looking at finishing in a similar place to us. Hopefully our standards will be a little bit higher, but for him to kind of bloody himself in this league and see what it's all about, because you can see players go away abroad and they might smash it in a certain league, and you think, oh okay, and they come back and are up to nothing again. So I personally like to see him loaned out to maybe a less ambitious Premier League side, maybe one of the newly promoted sides or whatever. If we could get him on a loan,
Cardiff makes sense to me.
That'd be great,
because they need some players. And I think he's good enough to play in that side, and it'd be a real opportunity to see whether he can do it, whether he could cope. Newcastle's another one, big you know, big expectation up there. Obviously the side they've got isn't, I don't think it befits that expectation, because I think that you know, they haven't got great players, and obviously there's a lot of struggles going on at Newcastle, so maybe he wouldn't go up there. But yeah, you're right. I would like to see if he could do it in the Premier League with you know, with a club that's not us, basically, to see whether, you know, what we do with him. Kieran Dowell. Yes. What do we do with him?
I think for me, he's someone we've got to keep on, and is going to be probably a second choice to Gylfi Sigurdsson. Maybe we'll see him come in and grow throughout the season with the opportunities he's given. I don't really want to see him loaned out again, to be honest, because I think we need him in this squad now. And what we don't want to happen as well is end up losing out on these players, because you know, you get to that point where you go, he's not quite done anything at Everton, we'll just end up selling him to Wigan or whoever. I'd like to see him stay on and come in and do a job when he's required, maybe cup games, and you know, or if anything happens with Gylfi Sigurdsson, because I think there's definitely a talent there. There's a lot of this, isn't there? There's a lot of, there's potential, there's talent here, but we haven't quite seen enough of it. I mean, the kid's got a beautiful left foot as well, which is something that's a rarity these days. He's very different to a lot of players that are about these days. He's got a touch of class about him as well, the way he can pick a pass, and he's got that. You talk about someone who has like that footballing vision and that footballing intelligence, and I think you can't teach that, and I think Dowell has that. I really wanted to see more of him and more from him, to be honest, than we have done, but I've not looked at him on the same token and gone, no, he's not good enough. It's one a kind of wait and see what happens, but I'd like to see it happen. Yeah, slow burner, but hopefully in amongst the first team squad and see what he does given the chance. But I feel like I'm really sitting on the fence with a lot of these, but there's been the ones that you say aren't good enough. There's still a couple there, to be honest, but the main ones have probably gone, so that's good. But there's no one where I've gone, wow, bloody hell, they're going to come in and it's going to be like a new signing. And I'd hoped that would be the case with a few. It's not really happened like that. But with Dowell, I certainly think I hope anyway, he's got a future at Everton. I think the kid's got something about him, and I'd like to see him develop with us rather than anywhere else.
Yeah, I agree. I think his left foot's fantastic. I think physically he's strong. You know, he's got a good physique about him. I think the way he plays the game sometimes looks like he's not really bothered, but I think it's just his style. But hopefully Marco Silva can give him a little bit of clarity in what positions he should be taking up, the effort he puts in, that kind of thing, and getting on the ball a little bit more and stuff like that. And if he can, then we've got ourselves a very good player, because technically he's fantastic. It's just, can he put it all together? You know,
he's still young again, and I know you don't want to say there's always this debate, isn't it? If you're old enough, you're good enough, and you know, we need to stop cutting these lads too much slack. But for me, I think you have to. That's got to be a factor in it. But we've seen that there is a player. I mean, the first half of the season last season at Notts Forest, he was unbelievable. He was fantastic, and that tailed off. But he's got that in him, and just give the lad a chance and see him grow into it, hopefully, because it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it, to see Dowell really become a key player for us, and certainly going forward as well. But cut him a little bit of slack. He's still young, he's got to develop still, and just hope that he does it in the right ways and does it with the Blues.
What about Tom Davies?
I love Davies, and I want it to work so much, because for me the lad is somebody who, everything about him is just not quite happening on the pitch at the moment, in terms of how he is as a person, what he stands for, the way he comes on with his little socks rolled down, and he never ever hides. I always say that for Davies, he never hides. He always is looking to make a positive impact. It just hasn't gone that way. And again, you know, on Saturday he comes on, and I'm frustrated every time he hits an off pass or whatever, because you can hear it in Goodison. It's and you know, it's a bit of a touch of the Barclays now. He's become the whipping boy with a lot of the fans, and is that because he's a local lad, and you know, he showed all this ability and promise. I mean, from that Manchester City goal and that 4-0, expectations up here, and he had a good season that season. Last season didn't go that way at all. It was a disappointing season, but find me a player that didn't have a crap season last season, because I can't think of a single one except maybe Bar Pickford. So yeah, again, I'd have liked to have seen more of him than we have done. I'd have liked to have seen him come in and looked impressive, maybe bagged a goal or two, and it's not really gone that way. Again, Saturday he comes on and it's a bit of a failed performance with what little time he had. I think you know, you and Ped have kind of said the same. I think we're on the same page with this is make or break this season now. It's on a knife edge with Tom. You know, he's either going to come in and really prove that he's going to be at Everton and he's going to be a great young player, or he's not going to cut the mustard and we'll see him moved on, which I think would be a crying shame, because you only have to watch that goal against Manchester City. The kid's got something, and I'm saying this for kind of all of them, but for Tom particular, I think he could be fantastic, but it's just not quite gone that way. And look how he's been managed though, the mismanagement, and this goes for every single player, not just the young players. Every single player that's been at Everton for the past few seasons is going to be in a bit of a mess, with no one's known whether they're coming or going. Are they going to be in the squad? Are they going to be shunned? Are they going to be... And this is all going to have a massive effect on the way they play, and I don't think we can just pin on Tom Davis that, you know, just because he's a local lad and he's blue, and now even when he's going out and he's doing these great things, well, I think it's great, by the way he, you know, is out on Bold Street playing footy and that, and I know he's got to start doing this on the pitch, but he's even getting stick for doing stuff like that, and the clothes he wears and that thing. Give the lad a break, man, and I'm rooting for him so much. I'm rooting for Tom so much, and the way Marco Silva is such an excellent man manager, I just hope that we can see that develop with Davis, and hopefully he just needs, sometimes these lads just need a bit of an arm around them and go, this is how we're going to play here, because we still don't really know what his best position is, and that's a huge thing you know, it's a crucial part of his development at this age. And
for me, I think he's a cracking little player. I think he's very inconsistent. I think he gives the ball away too cheaply, so he's got to take care of in possession. But I think he's always trying to be positive. He's trying to push us forward. I think he presses well.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes caught in possession, sometimes sloppy with his passing, and they're things he's got to pick up. Yeah. But I honestly believe under Silva's guidance this season, in terms of where to go, where to stand, what to do, how to play the game, all that kind of coaching, I think he'll benefit from. And listen, he might never be that level that he was against Manchester City that day. That might have just been the perfect storm. That might be his level. What he performed that day, and he was confident and everything went well. Who knows? You know, but we've got to give him the opportunity. But regardless of whether he hits that level or not, doesn't mean he's not an important player for Everton or an important squad member. Yeah. You know, just because he's not Lionel Messi doesn't mean he's not a good footballer. And you know, people sometimes, I think, they're too quick to judge, and I think they do get a hard time because the local lads do. I think if we buy him, he gets more time. Yeah, I believe that. But that's not everyone. That's only a small section, I believe, of Evertonians who are frustrated with him. I hope so, because I really, it does frustrate me, because I think we could be to our own detriment here. You know, when these things, you know, people start getting frustrated, what you don't want to see is next season a little bit like the Valencia game, but obviously once the season starts, that's going to be a lot more. You don't want to see him come on, have an off pass, and then everyone's on his back, because once that starts, it gathers pace and it gathers momentum, and before you know it, the lad can't even get on the pitch without the grumblings going around Goodison, and we can't afford to damage another young player with that. If it turns out that he's not good enough and he's given enough time and chances, then of course we move him on. But let's not knock the kid down before he's been given a fair crack, because he really hasn't yet. You know, you can't. He's a young lad. I think he's played 63 games or something, or whatever. But you've got people saying he's had a season. You know, that should be enough. No. Everyone was rubbish last year. Like exactly. Bar Pickford. Exactly. You know, Rooney was decent up until Christmas, and then Gylfi had his moments, but in general, over the course of the season, nobody was any good, really.
That's it. So, but he is the whipping boy, you know. And
well, look, it is what it is, and people are entitled to their opinion, and people will have different views on it, and that's fine.
Of course, yeah.
That's fine, no issue with it, but I just feel like, for Tom, I feel like he's still an important member of the squad, and he's someone I look at and think you can get better and better as well.
Yeah.
And that, for me, is key. You know, that as to whether he stays or he does, you know, he stayed or he didn't. I don't think it's even going to be an issue, but I think he does have to take a bit more care in possession.
He does, yeah, he does.
He does have to keep improving, because that's the name of the game. You keep improving, then he will get better and better. Yeah. You've got to keep learning and listening, and if you're not on the pitch, you've got to be there watching the players who are on the pitch and seeing how you can affect the game and what you need to do to get into that side. And I don't think he lets anyone down. Okay, Saturday, come on, it wasn't great, but again, I could level that. A player that's causing an absolute storm on Twitter and social media, Ademola Lookman.
Yeah.
You know, to a section of people, he's Lionel Messi, right? Without really deserving that tag, because he's not. If you take the goal against City and his performance for 20 minutes in the derby last year in the cup, what's he done? He's had little cameos where you've looked and gone, oh, he's a good player. He's got loads of ability. You can tell he's got loads of ability, but has he been consistent? No. Is his attitude look good when he come on at the weekend? He looked to me like he couldn't care less.
Yeah.
But that might not be the case. He might have just been a bit rusty because he hadn't been playing or whatever.
Yeah. He
might have been annoyed with Silva that he was giving him 8 minutes. He might have thought he was going to get a half.
Yeah.
There could be many things there, but you know, you've got to. I just think you've got to kind of treat young footballers all the same, and I think Tom Davies has done more for Everton than what Ademola Lookman has. Yeah,
he has, and if you want to talk about attitude and stuff like that, I think last season when Lookman, you know, stood firm and was like, despite Allardyce saying to go to Derby County, he was like, cheers mate, but actually I am going to do this. I'm going to take my career into my own hands, and it worked out well for him. I think maybe that as well, him getting them goals and them assists, has all of a sudden, you know, propelled him into we must. And I don't get me wrong, I'm a massive advocate for Lookman. Last season when he was still here before he went to Germany, I was like pulling my hair out, like, why isn't this kid getting given a chance? Because that's what he's missed out on. He hasn't been given consistent game time. He hasn't had a fair run in the team. He's come in and out.
He shouldn't have gone out the door.
He shouldn't have done.
Balassi wasn't ready. So.
He shouldn't have done, and maybe this is all part and parcel of it as well. But I think when you look at Tom, in terms of his attitude, doesn't matter if he's getting stick, doesn't matter if he's maybe not getting as much time as he wants. He'll come on and he's, as you said, Baz, looking to impact the game positively. He's looking to go forward. He's looking to make things happen, and I think he's someone whose attitude is bang on. Lookman, you know, gets a rapturous applause on Saturday as he's coming on, and body language wise, I mean, we don't know what's going on with this kid. We don't know. He might just be dead shy. I don't know. But as a fan, it looked like don't want to be here, and that's not what you want to see. I hope that I'm wrong, but it's starting to look a little bit that way, and it might just be, look, I've been messed around enough by this football club, and actually he's got no affiliation to this city, he's got no affiliation to this club. He might just think, look, I might not get this move to Leipzig, I could be up there now and setting my career. I want to be playing in the Bundesliga, and if he's got his heart set on that, then, and that's the way he wants to go, then that's on him, isn't it? But yeah, attitude wise, I think Tom he's hungry to learn, and I think he'll do everything in his ability to be the best he can be for Everton.
Nice way to finish, nice and positive there. Let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on the pre-season. Has it been good enough in terms of the amount of games we've played, energy levels, everything else? What are you worried, given that the results haven't been great? Apart, you know, or is it, like we've just said, that the areas we need to strengthen absolutely glaringly obvious? They are. Yeah, and if anyone who took their chance this pre-season, who's kind of surprised you, or you've thought, you know what, he's done all right, we'll give him a go, let us know in the comments section below. Big thanks to Sarah for joining me on the Tuesday topic. See you soon on Toffee TV.